With the SEC and Big Ten potentially growing and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and becoming now the Power 2 in college football, it's likely that most schools in the ACC and Big 12 are trying to figure out what they need to do to get into one of those leagues. Well, in this episode, I'm going to talk about the West Virginia University Mountaineers and what they are doing to try to make sure their future is secure and if they can get into one of the Power 2 leagues or at least secure themselves a seat at a power conference table in the future. And I'm going to go over a list of things they're doing and what it can mean in this episode. So stick around. What is up, and welcome into this episode of Cougars Corner, your home for top shelf college sports news and analysis around the West Virginia Mountaineers and the Big 12. Well, I did a video a few days ago about the West Virginia trying to get into the SEC and trying to dispel some rumors that were out there. I don't think West Virginia's getting into the SEC anytime soon, maybe not ever. I think there are several teams on the list ahead of West Virginia. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe I'm underestimating the West Virginia brand. I obviously think it's a great brand. I mean, I got it hanging all over my wall, right? I wear it. I wear it on hats and shirts. I go to football games. I talk about it on here. I've been talking about it on here for 4 years now. So obviously, I think the Flying WV and WVU is a great brand. But I'm also a realist. And I understand that there are schools, and I also pay attention to the landscape of college sports. And I know there are schools likely on the list ahead of the Mountaineers, like the North Carolina Tar Heels, the Virginia Cavaliers. Yes, despite them being bad at football, yes, I think they're ahead of West Virginia. Teams like Miami, Florida State, Clemson, probably even some others, potentially. Some of it because of academics, some of it because of market size, a lot of different reasons. But don't think that West Virginia is sitting there doing nothing, because that's not the case. They are trying to secure themselves a spot in a power league in the future, whether that's a P2, whether that's a full breakaway of the P4, whether it's a 60-team Super League, a 48-team Super League, whatever. West Virginia is going to do what they can to make sure they're in it. Will it work? Time will tell. But most people seem to think that the next shakeup will happen in around the year 2030. When most of the new TV deals are up for renewal. So West Virginia has about 5 years to get their house in order and move themselves up the ladder, so to speak, get higher up the food chain and get more noticed by the P2. And I've jotted down a list of things that I think West Virginia University is doing from an athletics perspective and even an academic perspective to try to improve their brand. So let me go ahead and go over this list. First off, before I start the list, though, I just want to make it clear. I do not think West Virginia has a snowball's chance in hell of ever getting into the Big Ten Conference. The Big Ten has a certain academic threshold. West Virginia doesn't meet it. Now, unless by some miracle in the next 5 years, West Virginia has major improvements in some areas academically, they don't have a snowball's chance in hell without some help. I doubt they'll ever be an AAU institution, which seems to matter a lot to Big Ten presidents. I don't think they'll ever meet that criteria. They're one of the lowest, if not the lowest ranked Power 4 school as far as U.S. News and World Report and all these other rankings. Doesn't mean West Virginia is a bad school, but West Virginia's mission is to educate as many Appalachians as possible, and therefore their admission rates are higher, which means they let in a lot of students that other schools wouldn't, which leads to lower graduation rates in a lot of cases. So the mission of the university is what it is, and I think it's noble. But and West Virginia is a really good school. They've got a great medical school. They've got a great doctoral program in several areas. They've got great master's programs. Their hospital is growing, continuing to grow. They do a lot. Their research spending is growing. I may be getting ahead of myself here, but I'm not trying to down talk West Virginia at all. I'm just trying to be real here, okay? But let's go ahead and start the list. Let's look at academics. They go out and hire, Gordon Gee has left. He's no longer the president. They go out and hire Michael T. Benson. Now, Michael T. Benson's, this is his 5th school presidency. He's coming more recently from Coastal Carolina. But Michael Benson has written books, and one of those books was titled Daniel Coit Gilman and the Birth of the American Research University. Now, it's a biography basically of Daniel Coit Gilman, who was one of the founders of the AAU, the Association of American Universities, which I just said West Virginia likely will never be in. It's the most prestigious, at least according to the people in it, and according to a lot of school presidents, it's the most prestigious list of schools when it comes to university research spending and funding. So he's probably well connected with a lot of people in that AAU world because he probably had to do a lot of research for this book. He probably talked to a lot of people in writing this book, probably made a lot of relationships writing this book. I think that matters. I think Michael T. Benson can really, really help West University improve their status nationally, hopefully improve their enrollment, so on and so forth. They've increased their research spending by 82% in the last 5 years. Their research spending is up to $275 million in fiscal year 2024, or academic year 2024, rather. An 82% increase over the last 5 years. That's big. It shows they're taking it seriously. They're doing a lot of funding, a lot of research, and that matters. It matters. Their hospital. I can almost throw a rock and hit a campus of a West Virginia University hospital right here in my own backyard in Princeton, West Virginia, 3.5 hours south of Morgantown, because WVU Medicine purchased Princeton Community Hospital. It now has a flying WV on it. They are now part of the West Virginia University family. They're getting ready to build. They just broke ground on a brand new cancer center. They opened up a small children's hospital. They're trying to improve the healthcare. They have big plans for this local hospital here. So they're growing the hospital. They're making strides there. So they're doing things, they recently cut some classes out to try to improve their financial situation, cut out some programs. Now that you might say that's a move in the wrong direction, but if it can get them right sized for the future, it might actually be a good thing. Now let's talk about what they've done athletically. Let's just talk about the hiring of Wren Baker. They had Shane Lyons in there who did some good things, but he wasn't really known for fundraising. And I think in this new era of college athletics, you need somebody who can raise money. Well, Wren Baker is a master at that. He's a master of finding creative ways to earn revenue. He's good at building relationships with donors. He's good at networking. He's very intelligent, and he's just a great fundraiser. He's done it his whole career. He's good at it. He likes it. And they've got the right guy for the job in this next era. Well, in football, look what they've done in football. Yes, they let Neil Brown go. Neil Brown, who, in my opinion, is not a bad football coach. He was just a bad coach at West Virginia for whatever reason. And he's a good person. But they saw it wasn't working. They see the need to win now. They fire Coach Brown and bring in Rich Rodriguez. Why do I think bringing in Rich Rod is a move for the future? Well, Rich Rodriguez is a well-known figure in college football. He's brought more national attention to West Virginia already just in the short time he's been here than they've had in quite a while. He was on the Pat McAfee show just today as I'm recording this Thursday, August 28th. He was on today's Pat McAfee show, and he'll likely be on there multiple times throughout the season. Pat McAfee's constantly promoting Coach Rodriguez. He's been on national television shows. He says things in press conferences sometimes that make national news. If he can go out and he has the support of donors at a level that Neil Brown never did. West Virginia's seen an uptick in NIL donations. They're getting more support from as far as hiring coaches. They have a much larger coaching staff now than they've ever had. They went out and spent $1.5 million on a defensive coordinator to make sure the defense was shored up. They're making moves. They're showing that they're taking football seriously. They're doing what they need to do to try to compete and try to win in a Power Four league. And a lot of that is because of Rich Rodriguez's relationships with some of the donors, people like Ken Kendrick, like Pat McAfee, who's now a donor himself, like Ike Morris, another big donor. Coach Rod is personal friends with a lot of these people. It matters. And if he can go out and win games, West Virginia can propel themselves to being on the national stage again and in the national spotlight and being a national brand. They've got to do it now. You've got to start winning now and win for the next 4 or 5 years, so that when the deck chairs on the Titanic start to reshuffle, you get a lifeboat, right? Wren Baker said they're going to be all in on rev share. That matters today. I mentioned the new, speaking of the president, Benson, he understands the importance of athletics. He was a college athlete himself. He knows that athletics is a front porch to the university and that it helps improve enrollment. And West Virginia's enrollment has been declining over the last few years. It's important that they get enrollment numbers back up. It has went from 29,000 in 2020 down to around 25,000 in 2025. It's going in the wrong direction. They need to get it back up. Winning in football will help do that. Heck, even men's basketball, winning will help do that. I'm happy to announce that Cougars Corner has partnered with SWVLE, SWVLE, SWVLE. It's a Chrome extension where you can get all of your content, all of your Cougars Corner content as a Chrome extension right on your desktop. You open your computer and boom, there's all of your Cougars Corner content. You won't even have to look for it online. To get set up, go to swvle.com. It's SWVLE.com. Go to Pages, set up an account, then go to Pages. Search for Couz, C-O-U-Z. It'll pop up. Go over here to the right of your screen and follow me. You can also follow WVU Athletics and get all of their content as well. You're not limited to just following one page, but you can follow Cougars Corner. Then make sure you set up your Chrome extensions right here beside your search bar. Manage your extensions, add SWVLE as an extension, and you can get it all right there on your desktop. As soon as you open your computer, you won't have to search. You can get access to my tweets. You can get access to my YouTube channel. You can get access to links to go to my website, wvsportschat.com. It's all right there in one easy place for you every single day. So go check it out, SWVLE, SWVLE.com, and follow Cougars Corner. Thank you for listening. And thanks to SWVLE for being a Cougars Corner partner. A couple other things I want to touch on that aren't necessarily on the field related, but I think are important and that conferences may look at. They hired a guy. They brought Rob Alsop back. Now, Rob Alsop was part of the old administration. He had left West Virginia when they brought in Wren Baker. They brought him back to be the senior deputy AD. Now, I have talked to some people behind the scenes that didn't necessarily like this move, but here's why it could potentially help them. Rob Alsop, from everything I've heard from talking to people, is very well connected to the people in Charleston, the people who help make state laws that could benefit West Virginia. He will know how to lobby to get West Virginia help in Charleston. So that could be a way to maybe the state sends more funding towards West Virginia University, both from an academic perspective and potentially even an athletics perspective. And then last but not least, I'm going to talk about the Morgantown Airport. I know a lot of you are rolling your eyes. Couz, what in the world does that have to do with it? It means a lot. I remember hearing an interview with Don Nealon on the 3 Guys Before the Game show, or 3 Guys Before the Game podcast. And when Don Nealon called Chuck Ninus, who at the time was the commissioner of the Big 12, trying to get West Virginia into the league, he told Don Nealon that they needed to get a bigger airport in Morgantown because they didn't want to have to fly into Pittsburgh and then drive all the way down. Now, Coach Nealon explained to them that they had an airport in Clarksburg, which was closer than Morgantown. But I've heard rumors, and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard rumors that that was also a concern to the SEC when they talked to West Virginia, that they needed that airport in Morgantown to be bigger so that their schools could fly directly in. Morgantown Airport has the shortest runway of any commercial airport in the state. Now, but what they're doing now, they have secured federal funding to extend the airport another 1,001 feet. And they are currently getting ready to start phase 5. I think it's phase 5 of the expansion project. They hope to be done with it sometime in the year 2027. They were originally hoping to be done in 2026. It doesn't look like that's going to happen, but they are at least working on it, working toward the end goal of expanding the Morgantown Airport. And believe it or not, apparently that matters. Because the Big 12 even mentioned it to Don Nealon. Now, they let West Virginia in anyway. But when it comes time to talk to other leagues like the SEC, which is likely West Virginia's only shot, it may matter. It may matter. They want life to be easy for their athletic teams, for their presidents when they have to fly in for meetings, whatever. They want their life to be easier. So West Virginia is making strides in academics, and they're doing the things they need to do in athletics. We just have to hope that the decisions they've made, like hiring a new president, hiring Rich Rodriguez, all of these things need to pay dividends. Because if it doesn't, then West Virginia runs a very high risk of getting left behind in the next conference realignment reshuffling. But hopefully, all these moves will work out and they'll find a home, whether that be in a P2 conference like the SEC, or maybe it means that they help the Big 12 stabilize or remain stable and grow the financial pie of the Big 12. Maybe that's what they have to do. But whatever it is, West Virginia is making strides to make sure that they can keep their seat at the quote-unquote big boy table for the year 2030 reshuffling. What do you think about this situation? Do you think West Virginia makes it into a P2? What do you think it would take? Do you even want them to go to a P2? Would you rather them just stay in the Big 12? I want to get your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about some of these moves being made by West Virginia and even by, the city of Morgantown with the airport and all that? What do you think about these moves? Do you think it will help them? Give me your thoughts in the comments. Also, please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. There's a button below called Hype. Please hit it. It's right between the download button and the thanks button under this video. It's called Hype. Please hit that button. It's a new feature that YouTube has. If you hit it, the more people that press that button, the YouTube channels or videos that get the most hypes are going to get pushed out more into the algorithm by YouTube. So please hype up Cougars Corner videos as much as possible. I would really appreciate it. Also want to give a shout out to my sponsor, Appalachia Digital. Thank them for designing the new website over at WVSportsChat.com. If you want a new website or want to improve your current website, go to AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz. They will help you out. They'll take good care of you. They'll even help you get found easier on Google if you already have a site. So go check them out, AppalachiaDigital.com/Couz, and thank them for supporting the show and supporting what we're doing over at WV Sports Chat. I want to thank all of my VIP paid channel members. They're scrolling along the bottom of the screen. You can do your Fanatic shopping, your ONIT Athlete trading card shopping, your Victory Tailgate shopping, all in the description box. That all helps too. Or you can just like, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you for watching. Have a top shelf day and Q Country Roads.